also. He's making his 7th speech in the CC manual, so he's well on his way to an award. He was our most recent past president and was roasted and took it all very well. And he's currently serving again as treasurer. The assignment that he's fulfilling tonight is to research his topic. The speech length is 5 to 7 minutes. And the title is SEO for all. And when I asked Jason Griffin to describe himself in 5 words, he said, hard-working, loyal, techie guy. So please welcome our hard-working, loyal Jason Griffin.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. In 2011, Google averaged 4.7 billion searches a day. That equates to 54,000 searches every single second. It's a staggering number to be sure, but you might be asking, well, what does this mean to me? Well, of course, it doesn't matter what type of business you're in. We need ways not only to find new customers, but even more importantly, to allow new customers to find us. And if you're not actively pursuing ways to make yourself more visible on search engines like Google, then you're missing out on huge opportunities. So the question is, of course, how do we do this? Well, if you're wondering that, you're in luck tonight, because I'm here to talk about a concept known as search engine optimization, also known as SEO. And tonight we're going to go over 10 basic tips that you could apply either to an existing website or a new website to help get you started. So there's some handouts floating around. I think there was 1 or 2 extra I left with Sherry if anybody didn't get one and is interested. Sherry will be happy to come over. So I'm going to go ahead and jump right in. Number 1, you need to know where you currently stand. We can't measure our progress if we don't know where we're measuring from. So one of the easiest ways to do this is a website known as alexa.com. It's a free website. You simply go there. There's a search bar at the top of the screen where you can type in the web address of your website, and it will show you all kinds of useful information regarding how much traffic your site is currently seeing, as well as a bunch of other information. And you can see on your handouts, there's a screenshot there from an Alexa search that I did for toastmasters.org. And that's just a little bit of the information that you can get on that website. Secondly, choose good keywords. A keyword is simply a word, or more often a series of words, a phrase, that you think a customer interested in your product or your service may type in to Google. A way you can research these, again for free, is a tool called the Keyword Tool by Google AdWords. You can go there and you can see the screenshot here. I've done a search for the phrase public speaking, and it's kind of small, but if you look across the top there, you can see they're rating that exact phrase at a competition level of medium with a global monthly search volume of 368,000 searches, which is quite high. The idea here is that you want to target keywords that have a very high search volume with a relatively low level of competition. Number 3, link back to yourself. What does this mean? Well, on your web page, you're going to have a series of pages. Perhaps you even have a blog on your website, so you're going to have a number of blog posts as well. It's a good idea in that website and in that content to create links that point back to other pages within your website. So as an example here, I've actually given you a screenshot from publicspeakingspot.net, which is a website that I'm actually starting. It's live. You can go check it out right now. It's certainly a work in progress, but I would love if you all went and checked it out. And you can see there at the bottom of my first blog post is a link to my resources page. And that's just an example of what I'm talking about here in this step. The next step, create a sitemap. I don't want to go into in detail what exactly a sitemap is. Some of you may know, some of you may not. Most big websites nowadays have them. But it's something that's often overlooked by individuals and small businesses who create websites. And building a website is a great way to help search engines understand exactly what your website is about and how it's structured. Search-friendly URLs. A URL is simply just the address of your website. So the idea here is that you want to have a URL that's easy to remember, and it's also ideal if your URL actually contains the key phrase that you're targeting. So again, I'm citing my website here, Public Speaking Spot, And you can see that the URL that I'm using does contain the key phrase that I'm targeting with my website. And there's two other arrows there indicating that not only is it in the URL, but also the title of my page. Very important. This next one, avoid Flash. Not going to spend a lot of time on this one. If you're familiar with Flash, it's a graphics program used typically for animation on websites. It used to be really popular, generally not considered a great thing these days, although that's not always true. Tag your images. Anytime you add a photo to a website, you'll have the option to add what's called tags to that photo. Now, as smart as the guys at Google are, they have not figured out a way to make their search engine see. So remember, the search engine will not know what that photo is or what it's relevant to if you don't add those tags. So you're only hurting yourself. You're adding content without letting that optimize your results. Link to others. Just like in real life, doing business online, it's important to reach out to others. We need to network. So a simple example here would be, maybe there's a very popular blog, somebody who writes about products or services similar to those that you sell. You could simply reach out to the author of this blog and see if you can create a strategic relationship there. Perhaps you can get them to post a link to your site on their page in return for you doing the same, and in that way you both gain. You share your traffic. The next step, update your content. Nobody is going to go to a website over and over again if the website never changes, right? That's obvious. So Google knows that, and Google actually has figured out in their algorithm that they need to reward people who are constantly adding content to their web page. So if you have a small web page, a very simple website that maybe you don't feel like you need to update all the time, a great way to do this is to add a blog section. And maybe just do one simple blog post every week, and that's a great way to keep your site fresh and keep it climbing in Google. The last one I want to touch on is perhaps one of the most important nowadays. You hear it all the time, social media. We've been talking about it here. It's a very easy thing to do. Facebook, LinkedIn, Google+, Twitter, YouTube. These are all examples of sites that you can set up an account for your company for free. And they're very effective at allowing your website to climb in the ranks of Google. And as an example of this, actually in preparing for this speech, I came across an interesting thing. If you do a Google search for public speaking right now, the number 7 result you can see there is Santa Monica Public Speaking Meetup. Now, obviously as a club, we haven't been doing a lot of SEO here, but you can see if you click on that link, the screenshot below there we are, we're right there. So this drives the point home that simply by having that, we've been able to piggyback off of Meetup. So these have just been 10 very simple steps you can take. If you have a simple website, I encourage you to try them out because they are very effective, and I hope you found this interesting and helpful, and I thank you for your attention. Good night.
I found that so interesting and helpful that I was sitting there going, who's the Toastmaster?